final part of Mind video series. So I learned about not only God, I learned not only about how to stay safe, but I learned about neuroscience, I learned about Buddhism, and then more and more about Tibetan Buddhism. And that's when the mind started to be more understandable. There's this notion in popular, I think, social life where people are talented. They know what's what, they know who's where, they got Facebook, they got Twitter, they got Instagram, they've got a car maybe too. Money to travel, money to vacation, money to order from a restaurant and have it delivered. And no big deal, okay. But you can't make a mind with such grit that they talk about in neuroscience, and with such beauty as they talk about in art, until you sat with the young boy or whoever you sit with in a psychiatric hospital, all through the night, all through the morning, and then very early when the sun comes up, help that young man or whoever you help. His name was Noah. Outside, where his mom and sibling are waiting in their vehicle, and the mom walks over and yells at the young man, "Get in the car," stares at me with evil, and drives away. No gratitude, no namaste, no thank you. And then not have some anger and some rage. The kind that the person over there who lives next door says I possess, and show and say out loud. And try to limit. What the woman next door is talking about is hormones, and what her friend over there and her friend down there and the landlord who keeps it all in balance are doing, are restricting natural chemical processes in the body. And a person in my situation then has to decide, well, do I go be homeless where there's more freedom? Do I try to make a case to a judge and say I'm being discriminated in a city where they like neutral gender? Names like this, names like 1,000 letters to describe their sexuality? They're hard choices and decisions to make, because that person's probably listening to me right now. These walls aren't that thick. They don't sleep. I hear stuff in the middle of the night. I hear stuff early in the morning. I turn my heat on after vomiting at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even know because I was so confused. They start hitting my wall. And I'm so confused, I throw my hands up and they say to the police, I'm suicidal and I'm trying to tear down the wall. It gives me the shivers. It gives me the chills. It gives me goosebumps. And memories. Another way to process all of this information I've just given has to do with the mind. You know, the mind. But we don't have a physical mind. We have a brain. We have an amygdala, we have a hippocampus, we have a hypothalamus, we have a cerebellum, we have a prefrontal cortex. We have a pons, we have a brain stem. We have neurons, we have synapses. We make mistakes sometimes remembering names, descriptions, words to describe the brain, the anatomy, and the physiology of speaking from the brain. But our mind makes us happy, secure, full of joy, optimistic, motivated and inspired. And willing to die to protect people we love, to protect our home, to protect our animals, to protect the planet from bad people, from evil, from destruction. And then there's a body with the brain. And the mind eventually calms the two. Gets a person sharper, more energetic, more focused, more concentrated, and then can dissolve. In the brain, the body can just be conscious, aware, conscious only. On a psychedelic substance in an ashram somewhere, learning about consciousness at a deeper level. In a clinic somewhere with some ketamine. Or in an ashram in your home with just a small amount of marijuana. Or be so in love with money and power and fame and glitz and glamour and emotions and strength and friends and families and getting what you want. There are two options. Train the mind for well-being. Train the mind to be this super awesome, activist, social demigod. Try to be Jesus reincarnated. Try to be Muhammad visually. Buddha mentally. They are risks and rewards and decision-making processes with systems occurring and never stopping. The end.